Hey Zero fans, Tony here from Rolling Sabers, and today another update video for you. If you're new to the channel, I do install, repair, and review these sabers, so please like, comment, and subscribe. I also have a website where you can find my finished products and sound fonts, so if you're interested in either, link will be in the description below. So, today we have another update video. This is an 89 Sabers installed and hilt, Fallen V2 from 89 Sabers. Now, this was beautifully installed. The only problem that we ran into, or the customer ran into initially, is that there was a retention screw underneath this like control box area that had snapped or came loose, which meant this whole metal chassis ended up breaking off, and so it caused damage. And then he just clipped all the wires and then basically wanted me to reinstall it. Now, the problem with that is not knowing how they originally installed it, I basically had to do troubleshooting and basically try to put together how they had installed it, which was kind of interesting. And the reason why is because normally you just have a normal Neopix connector, 2 buttons, and then you just solder everything together. With this one, it created a whole new challenge because it has this separate piece in here for where the crystal is. Now, this is supposed to be Cal Kestis' lightsaber, or his master's lightsaber before Order 66, or after Order 66, I should say. And the crystal in here is exposed, or kind of, so it'll blink in here. Now, they have perfectly done this where it connects to the PCB here, and it lights the second half of lightsaber. So you have NeoPixel on the front and on the bottom. Now, it took me a while to finally figure out everything, and I thank you for the customer for being so patient, because I've fixed a lot of sabers and not this complex where I didn't even know the coding or anything like that. And inside this SD card, there was no config file like Corbanth or others where I can edit them or see what happened or how it was coded originally. I had no idea. And so this is where my expertise comes into play, and I basically was like, okay, well, if I was this, how was this wired? And when he cut the wires, it made it kind of worse for me because I didn't know what color was what, and a lot of it's ironic because the switch wires were blue and gray, and one of the connectors for the Neopix connector was blue. So I was like, well, okay, great. And the button and Neopix connector can both be either connected to, I guess the buttons can either be connected to the battery negative or the ground. And so I basically had to decipher all of that, finally got it up and running, and then I had one other problem. And the other problem was I got everything soldered up, booted up, and then I couldn't change fonts. And so there was some problem with the buttons there, and it took me a week longer basically to figure out that it was just the 89 Sabers people have soldered the instead of the pads that are on the button thing from 89 Sabers, they soldered directly to the buttons, which means that the PCB that the buttons are sitting on are not working. And so, which would have been nice to know when I first installed it, or reinstalled, I should say. But I got that figured out, I got that redone, and so now, the reason why that was a big factor was because I thought the original config was bad. I thought I did some troubleshooting before I fixed the buttons and stuff until I figured it out. I thought it was the config file. Well, since this didn't come with the config, it has thousands, I mean not thousands, but several sound fonts on there, with just, I didn't know what the sound fonts were, because they were named and coded differently than I would name them. And so it was very weird, so I didn't want to go through and make the config, and halfway through making the config, I was like, no, that can't be my problem, the buttons can't be the config, because I asked the customer, is this, were the buttons the problem before this happened, and he was like, no, so the buttons shouldn't have been the problem. So I paused on recreating the config file, and I went in here and did some more troubleshooting. I figured out, of course, the PCB wasn't working, so I soldered the wires directly to the buttons, and then we got the perfectly good saber. Now, one thing that's kind of weird to me is that this crystal lights up when the saber's off, but not when it's on. And so it makes me think they have 2 presets, basically, instead of one blade style or one preset for both. So when the saber's off, the crystal will blink a color, and then when the saber's on, the crystal will turn off. Which is actually kind of cool because it makes you think that the crystal is not necessarily losing power, but it's not storing any power when it's using it, and so it goes directly to the blade. The customer did not include a battery for this saber, so I'll be throwing in one of mine to demo some of the fonts and stuff. Not really a huge update when it comes to fonts and stuff, mainly because he just wanted it fixed, and it has a lot of good fonts on here anyways. And so, let me put on this part first. I'll be demoing it with a 32-inch blade. Very, very nice saber. I've installed one of these before. Very loud, very nice. This one isn't too terribly loud because the NeoPixel connector kind of mutes the sound, but still very, very nice. I did end up re-gluing because the NeoPixel connector on the inside wasn't really secured very well, so I E6000 the NeoPixel connector inside here, and the buttons are now good and tactile. The only thing that might be different than originally before was that the power and aux button might be switched from what the customer was originally used to. So, without further ado, let's show off some of the fonts, and we'll call it a vid. Very nice design overall for this saber. Kind of like it. This has a save preset, not save preset, yeah, save preset thing. So it'll save whatever sound, font, and color changing you do on it. And so yeah.
Dan Tarry.
Let's go to a known font.
You're in fire.
This is During Fire by Lord Blanco. We can do that.
Selection.
So you can change colors. This is a bad font to demo that because it's all silverish blades. And then lightning block. As I said, there's a lot of fonts on here, so we're going to go through all of them.
Fracture. Heart of the Kinetic. Kyber. Lignin. Mantle of Next Door. Comixum. Rubat. See. Be my Darth Maul.
That's a good one. Darth Maul. I believe this is Crimson Menace by Cal Kestis. It has a post-off, that's cool. Force effects. Lightning block. A lot better here. Color changing again. Oh, I can do it.
Crystal selection.
That's kind of cool. It has crystal selection as the thing. Confirm it. Let's do purple. So yeah. It does have twist or swing on and twist off, which I thought was cool.
What's this?
So let's swing and then twist off.
If they find us, they will crush us, grind us into tiny pieces, and blast us into oblivion.
So yeah, there's tons of fonts on here. Again, I'm not going to demo all of them. Just kind of a short video to kind of show you off this little update. And it's a pretty cool hilt, so I kind of want to show it off all weathered and stuff. So that concludes the update for the JFO Fallen 89 Sabers V2. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the customer enjoys it. Have a wonderful day, and may the Force be with you.